everybody, Cone Dodger here. Welcome back to the Vector Automotive Challenge. Today we need to do some more work on our new car for the 1966 Vector Automotive model lineup, and that is the Combat. Last time we worked on the concept. That was an initial rough sketch of the main idea we were trying to portray, and that was of a large-bodied muscle car. This is the right time to be building a car like this. Lots of competitors in this field already, so there is going to be a fierce competition when we try and produce this vehicle. So it needs to be really well done. Our time is limited though. We need to get this car out in 66 or we're going to be behind the 8 ball here. There's already, like I said, a lot of other cars out there to compete with this, and we don't want even more manufacturers jumping in before we can get a chance to get those buyers. Now, when we took this concept car to the market analysis, it was not favorable in any particular way as far as selling this vehicle alone as it stands. However, these are not necessarily the markets we are going for. These are just markets that catch eyeballs at car shows. These here, muscle premium, and potentially pony, potentially family sport premium, these are the ones we really are interested in. And this car in its concept form was really not hitting it out of the park in those categories. If you look here, the gray means basically there is just marginal interest. So there's a little bit of green right now in the competitiveness of the Hyper, Super, and Track Premium. But it's not very strong. The scores are down in the 64s. We need to get much higher than that. And I think that will be easy once we, clean it up a little bit, make it a little bit more towards the actual production style car. As far as the aesthetics of the car goes, overall, it was pretty positive. There was not much negative said about it, but there was really not. It didn't seem to be a showstopper either. And personally, the more I, the lead designer of Vector Automotive, started looking at the car, I started to fall out of love with it. The front is maybe a little busy, the headlights a little too cramped, and don't match all of the trim options. Overall, it just seemed to be a little awkward on the front end. The back I'm happy with. This shape I am going to try and deal with too. I'm not overly happy with the way the back window is looking. So these things I have decided to work on. So what I have to present to you is the 1966 base production vehicle already made. Alright, here we go. It's pretty common that whenever I take a concept car and change it, the overall perception is usually not very good. So I put a lot of time into tweaking this car, even though it's not dramatically different. Here we go. Aha! So you can see some changes. Overall, it's like I said, a little bit on the more simple side, and this is of course the base model. Started to introduce some more similarities between fixtures. Sometimes I get away from that and start using too many different styles of fixtures. So now everything on the front end is chrome lipped. That is, kind of with each other. And we do have some vents on the bottom that are not chromed, but they are hidden on the bottom. And you can see the lip is gone for this base production vehicle. Since this is the base production, there's, no fancy wheels and no rear lip. I did change the shape of the back window a little bit. It's a little smoother and a little bit more fastbacky. But overall, I think, personally, I am much happier with the look of the car. It's not as standout. The front I don't think is as grabbing as it once was. The grille though is much larger and kind of a little bit more on the aggressive side. Okay, so as we look at the actual build for the combat production car, keep in mind we already have and still produce the Vector Intrigue, which comes in a 2-door version and is a good pony car. So it was important for me to make a distinction between the two and even have the base model of this car be more expensive, faster, and just overall different than that Intrigue. This is a mistake I see lots of manufacturers make, making vehicles that have too much overlap versus each other, and you waste your time competing with yourself instead of competing with other manufacturers. I went ahead and made a new variant of the existing V-Series, which has been a now long-standing engine and very successful engine for us. However, this time pretty much made it, I hate to use the word bare bones because it does have some nice parts on it, but just kind of used the essentials to get the power numbers that we need, lowered the actual capacity of the engine to both lower the weight and lower the power because we don't want the base model to have too much power, but we want it to have a nice muscle car feel. So we now have a 3.9 liter V8. That's like 240 cubic inches, just, if you're wondering. And it produces 241 horsepower, 253 foot-pounds of torque. Pretty stout numbers, in my mind, for a small, lightweight-ish iron-blocked V8. Things we didn't particularly care about: economy, loudness, smoothness. We didn't really care that those were overly refined because that's not this car's appeal. That's more of the Intrigue's appeal. Another change from the existing concept car is that we went from a fiberglass body to a steel body, mostly due to cost. That was the biggest challenge in building this car, was getting it to be cheap enough and fast enough to be competitive in the market. But with 241 horsepower and a weight less than 3,000 pounds, with a production cost of about $8,000, we were able to make a car that was very marketable in the actual muscle car demographic, which is exactly what we wanted. It also straddles up into the muscle premium, but that is a category that the more expensive car will probably fit into better. Small game update. You can see down below we have the characteristics of the buyer's market we are going against. So you can see like all the different values for what the conditions are like in our market. You can see that the leaded ban doesn't come till 1979. The emissions don't come till 1981. So we're not overly worried about that kind of stuff just yet. You can see in muscle car that the drivability, sportiness, prestige, and quarter mile times are the most important. And those are kind of the main things I looked to build in this car. So overall, we have made a pretty competitive base model car. Now, I would like to make an ultra-competitive muscle premium. A halo car for our company that I want to dominate this muscle premium. 81.4 is great, and we're going to really take it to these other bigger manufacturers. But I want to have a car that just blows them all out of the water and will build interest in the rest of our model lineup. So now we start building the 1966 Vector Combat Launch Edition. This car will be the ultimate muscle car for 1966. You can see that I've added back the lip to the front, gone with a more aggressive black trimmed grille and fixture assembly, and brought back what is becoming a signature Vector element, the rear spoiler. We have got some great engines to choose from, but nothing quite to the caliber of what I have in mind. So we're going bigger. How much bigger? How does 431 cubic inches sound? So initially here I have twin two-barrel carburetors. That is a max output of 501 horsepower, which is a very good number and probably more than we will hit. But if we go up to a single four-barrel, it's 319. If we go up to twins, it's 638 horsepower. There's no way we'd be able to put that much power to the ground. So let's stick with the twins for now. So here's our monster. 447 horsepower, 471 foot-pounds of torque. This thing costs $1,608 to produce. I believe that is about double what the V-Series engine costs to produce. We'll see what this means for the ramifications of the build of this car. Let's get into the trim and see if it's possible to have a good everything just went red. A good marketability with an engine this large. This is something I've never done before, so it's gonna be very interesting. So let's see where we start. Okay, great. I can breathe a sigh of relief because instantly just putting that giant engine automatically put us into the good for muscle premium. There is a lot of tuning left to do here, and we're already up to an 83.9 competitiveness. Very good, very exciting. Let's see if we can make that even better. So obviously here in the gearbox, we need to do some tuning. I like the idea of keeping it a manual, and I think the 4-speed is a good combination. Especially for an engine with this much torque, you don't need that many gears to keep shifting around. This car should be able to go very fast. Estimated top speed is 167. We'll give it a little bit more for overdrive for 4th gear. 7.6 miles per gallon, I don't see what the problem is, but, it's just nice to have. And we've got the wheel spin at 31.9. That will probably be mostly improved through tires, so let's go there. Let's up the quality of these tires and go to sports compounds. Now you can see just doing that kind of took us out of the regular muscle category, but did get us some improvement in the muscle premium. Did it not? It actually did not, did it? Decisions. What does it do with wheel spin? It does take it down pretty considerably, but let's see what we can do with the medium compounds. Perhaps going with larger rear tires. So it seems that it is the case that going with larger tires on the medium compounds makes it a better muscle car. Again, I'm learning. I don't know really what makes a good muscle car because it's not my specialty. Interesting. So would 245s make it even better? 88. And we're pushing it out of the regular muscle. I know. Premium is where we need to be. We made it oversteery though. That's no good. I think it was happier on the... Yeah, it's happier on the 235s. That's where we'll let that lie. Now, I put this quality way up high. We may not need that for this size of tire. Yeah, it's letting us have it still. There we go. All right, now we're up into the 90s. Oh, and muscle came back up, too. It's not as affordable. Certainly not as affordable, but it is still desirable as a muscle car. Very interesting, and I think that's a good thing. Sadly, when it comes to brakes, there's not a whole heck of a lot we can do. We could put bigger front... Oh, holy crap, 98.1. But what does it do with the affordability? Not too much. What does it do with the affordability of muscle? Not too much either. Let's do that. Bigger front brakes, much better. How about more quality? It's messing with the affordability a little bit. But is making it a much better driving car, so I think it's worth it. We don't want this to kill everybody that gets into it. Now, this is going to hurt us a little bit because we do need to put more cooling airflow for that giant engine. 510 should do it. Yeah, so it did bring that down a little bit because it slowed our top speed down. No huge loss there. And look at that, I could probably actually... Yeah, bring that down just a hair. Back up to 98. Everything's great. Everything is great. 6.90 to 60. That is primarily due to wheel spin. No surprise there. In the interior, I already gave it a sport interior. I don't think we need anything more than that. Although taking the radio out would give us a slight bump, I don't feel as though that's the way to go. You at least need some kind of basic AM radio. How much could that possibly weigh? 29 pounds? Yeah, well worth it. Well worth it, I think. One thing I've been trying to stick with this car is advanced safety. I want this to be a safe car because it is such a crazy muscle car. We wouldn't want to hurt our reputation creating a car that goes off and kills a bunch of celebrities. So let's make it as safe as possible considering how crazy fast it's going to be. Need a little bit more front damper stiffness due to the extremely heavy nature of the nose of the car, and a little bit of rear damper stiffness, probably to help the squatting of it. And let's see, we could make it a little easier to drive with a stiffer front spring. And it is hurting the sportiness a little, so let's keep that where it is. Alright, here we go, guys. This is the Vector Combat Launch Edition. I am finally happy with the way this car looks. I'm happy with the way this car performs. I think we've done a darn good job of making a true muscle car. to the very definition of muscle car. You could buy this car as is and absolutely dominate the street and have as much fun as you could ever have. Or you could buy this car and with just some simple bolt-ons turn it into a drag racing dream. That is exactly the market we were going for. Let's see what the market analysis has to show us. I think we have done very well for ourselves. 98.1 competitiveness in muscle premium. Exactly the target audience I wanted to go for. A 70% affordability means that it will be hard to resist as far as this market goes as well. The hyper category, which is an exclusive and prestigious vehicle built to the highest standards of performance car engineering. Not only do we have a 94.7 competitiveness there, we have a 90% affordability. So this is probably the cheapest hypercar on the market, as well as supercar, which is probably a strange term to consider this car to be, but it does do very well in those regards as well. An interesting thing to look at here is that the affordability in the other categories is quite good as well. So Family Sport Premium, we still have a 70% affordability. In Muscle, we still have a 42% affordability. Light Sport Premium, Track Premium, just plain Sport. So this car still kind of goes around a lot of markets, and even in this top trim can have a wide selection of buyers. I'm not gonna lie to you, I am a little proud of this one. This I think is the best car Vector has made so far, and I trust you to let me know if you agree. Go out and shop, go pretend you're in 1966, and go look at the available cars on the market. Tell me what you would buy. Don't just pick the Vector out of, the sake of this series. Give me your true impressions. What car in 1966, if you were looking for a premium muscle car, would you go out and buy, considering all of the existing options that happened in real life, and pretending that Vector actually made this Combat Launch Edition in 1966? That is all I have time for today. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you next time. Let's do it. It was right. Making this very difficult.
Oh,
You pulled a knee.
I did that on purpose.
Did you? Crap. And we lose.
Man. Goodbye, points.
Yep. We almost.